I think on a positive note, there has been quite a bit of outrage in general to what the recent incidents, at least to the recent incidents that have occurred. And there have been statements, some later than others, but they came out nonetheless, condemning the recent incidents and the anti-Hindu violence, which is positive, which is good. And not just at the federal level, but local, state level as well. Beyond the statements, so I think when we look at legislation, I think a lot of the legislation is going to be more broad based in terms of strengthening hate crimes protections. But in those pieces of legislation, what we can do and what we are trying to do, particularly at the state level, is to add additional information about what hate crimes can look like against the Hindu American community. So, what are common symbols of Hindus that may be attacked? We are working on a bill in California, for instance, a hate crimes bill, and we were adding language in there about what hate crimes against the Hindu community would look like, just as other communities were doing the same for their communities. So I think laws can be strengthened. They need to be strengthened. A lot of this is going to happen at the state level. Legislatively, more can get done at the state level than at the federal level. We all know Congress can be quite dysfunctional, not just when it comes to issues we're dealing with, but I think across the board, and as well as actually working with law enforcement separately. So whether that's the Department of Justice at the federal level, or whether that's local law enforcement agencies, district attorneys' offices, it all needs to be done in conjunction. So legislation is one part of it. The other part of it is working with these other agencies to make sure that they have proper training materials around hate crimes, and what hate crimes against the Hindu community looks like. But then training the community too. So bringing in these agencies to work and educate the community. What's the difference between a bias incident versus an actual hate crime? Right. So for if there's something that may be anti-Hindu in nature, may not rise to the level of a hate crime, but that needs to be, our community needs to be educated about the differences, but that they should still report anything that occurs, even if it's not necessarily a hate crime, but it's a bias incident, because we need to track that, because a bias incident today could turn into a hate crime tomorrow.